up guys, and welcome back to my booktube channel. Today I am here with the Throne of Fire book review. So, little backstory I guess. Before I started this book, I actually thought this was the last book in the series, but it turns out The Serpent Shadow is actually the last book in the series, so good thing I read like right here before I decided to read The Serpent Shadow, because then that would have been a huge spoiler and everything would have been a disaster. But luckily, I didn't. So, let's get started. So we start off when Carter and Sadie are at a museum with their new recruits, Jazz and Walt. And it turns out Sadie has a little crush on Walt. Not a surprise, finally. But I'm happy she got over Anubis. But I was happy that she got over Anubis, but turns out she actually didn't get over Anubis, which is sad. But that's for later. And they get caught. I don't know what they're doing exactly. Alright, they were trying to, no, I don't remember what they were doing, but they were doing something at a museum, and they had to steal something. Okay, and it's something to do with Waking Ra or something. But then they go, Jazz has to like stop all of these magicians from coming after them, and by doing so she like goes into this coma. But before she goes into the coma, she gives Sadie a shabtai of Carter. So that was very surprising. But it turns out the shabtai of Carter was actually used to save his life. So yeah. But before that, Jack kisses Walt, and then Sadie gets jealous. And then they go back to the Brooklyn house and get Jazz some help. And Sadie decides to go to London for her birthday. Yeah, I was furious when I read that. Like, the world is ending in like a few days. You have this mission to go awake Ra, and you only have like 3 days to do that. And the first thing on your mind is celebrating your 13th birthday. Like, really? That seemed pretty selfish to me, but I got over it. But when I read that, I was just super furious. But she goes to Walt, no, not to Walt. She goes to London with her friends Liz and Emma, and they both get, her grand and gramps both get, they are both hosts of gods. Okay, they're hosts. I usually say they just got possessed by gods, but they're hosts of gods. And her grams is host of Nekhbet. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, she's the host of Nekhbet, the vulture goddess. And her gramps is the host of Bobby, the baboon god. So yeah, they have that huge dilemma. And they meet Anubis again, and Anubis kisses Sadie. I was just super mad about that, but I like to read about Anubis because he kind of reminds me of Nico, even though they're so different. But he kind of reminds me of Nico in a way, because like they're way different than each other. First of all, Anubis is a god, and Nico is a demigod, but still, they're different. Anyway, while they were doing that, Carter was doing something. I forgot what they were doing. But when they were on their way, Carter and Walt rushed to go help Sadie, but Sadie actually ends up being fine. But they get a new driver. Bast says that he has a new driver for them, I guess, someone who's going to help them. And it actually turns out to be Bess, the dwarf god. So yeah. And then they have to go on this little mission to the Duat to help raise Ra. So, cause like he's the only one who can help them defeat Aphobos. So they have to do that, and they bring along Carter, Sadie. But they go on this little like side mission. Well, Carter goes on this little side mission to help to go find Zia, because they know that Zia is somewhere and they need to go find Zia. Well, Carter needs to go find Zia. Carter and Bess go off to go find Zia. And they do find Zia. And it turns out that Zia doesn't like Carter, which was super sad. Like, I hope that the shabtai's memory would somehow get transferred into Zia's memory, because like she was communicating with her shabtai, but it didn't, which is sad. And alright, the antagonist in this book is Vladimir Menshikov, something like that. but he is like this Russian magician, psychopath, assassin dude. So yeah, he's not good news, but he's the third most powerful magician. First is Desjardins, second is Amos, and third is Vlad. So they go to steal a scroll. That's what they do at the museum. Yeah, they went to go steal a scroll from Vlad. I don't know what, but again, it has something to do with raising Ra. That's all I know. All right, I remember now. So the they have to find 3 scrolls, and all 3 of the scrolls will help them find Ra. But they have to read at like specific times and stuff. But yeah, that, and it helped them find Ra. But when they found Ra, it turned out that Ra was actually, it didn't work. Well, they did find Ra, but he was like in no condition to fight Aphopis. He's talking about like zebras and weasels and cookies and different things. So he's like senile and he's old and crinkly and stuff like that. So yeah, it didn't work out how they expected it to. They were very disappointed, especially Horus and Isis, because at the end, especially Horus, that dude scared me. At the end, he was like, if you manipulated me, no, not manipulated me, if you embarrassed me in front of the all the gods and make me take down my throne of Pharaoh for no reason, I will end you myself. I was just like, okay, Horus, calm down. I liked you. Jeez. Okay. But I understand where he's coming from, I guess, because if that didn't work, I would probably, well, no, not really, I wouldn't have done the same thing, but yeah, that happened. And then we find out that Walt, we're coming back to Walt, is actually dying from this ancient curse. And I would like to say I didn't see that coming, but I actually did see that coming, because they were talking about, everyone kept on talking about how Walt was in like no condition to come with them, and I was like, what's happening? What no condition? What are you talking about? So I went on Google and I searched up Walt Stone, and it showed that he was dying from an ancient curse. So when they talked about him dying from an ancient curse, I was just like, wow. Like it was still sad when I read about it, but it wasn't as surprising as it would be if I didn't, search it up and stuff. So Jazz gets healed from her coma. Right. Sadie learns Carter's secret name, and everyone talked about how Jazz gave Sadie the Shabtai of Carter, and it helped save Carter's life. Yeah, well, Carter did something. I think he grabbed onto one of the something griffins. I forgot their name. They're like goat griffins or something like that. I don't remember the specifics, but they're like, I don't know. There were just different types of griffins in it, or sphinxes. Either griffins or sphinxes, and he grabbed onto them, and he's like dying and stuff. So they go on to help Carter, and Sadie learns Carter's secret name, and by learning Carter's secret name, she was able to save Carter, and he didn't end up dying. So, yay, Sadie. Again, Anubis, Carter, and Walt. There's this like little love triangle between Anubis, Sadie, and Walt, and I really didn't like it. Like the whole Bess thing, was way more Bess and Bast and Tourette was more interesting, but we're gonna get to that. And they're on this little quest to wake Ra, and Bast is like a little sad about waking Ra, because when they had to wake Ra, her old master left her to fight Aphopis again and again and again and again. So, yeah. Looking back over here. Alright, Tourette, Bast, and Bess thingy. So, yeah, they missed the first gnome. I mean, the 8th gnome. They, missed the 8th gnome. So, Bess actually, ends up losing his secret name. He ends up losing his secret name. Which was really sad because I really liked him. Wait. Okay, so, yeah, Anubis, Sadie, right, yeah, Bess loses his secret name. That does happen in this book. Bess loses his secret name, and then the whole Tourette, Bess, and Bess thing was way more interesting than the whole Anubis and Sadie thing. I'm just saying. But yeah, that's all. So yeah, and they're all taking like babysitting duties of like babysitting Raw, and they're very worried that Raw wouldn't be able to fight Opus, which is reasonable. Like I wouldn't, if I was one of the gods, I wouldn't trust Raw to be able to fight this like serpent either, even though he did it before. But still, but that's the end of this book review. This book found out that like Raw is rising. No, not Raw is rising. Aphopus is rising, and they awoke Raw, but it didn't really do any good. They woke Zia too. Yay, Zia. And it's like the climax of the series. You know, so many things are happening. Walt's dying. Things are brewing. Like it's just so action packed. And then my next book review is going to be with the Serpent's Shadow. So you guys stay tuned for that. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on that post notifications bell so whenever I post a video, you will be uploaded and you will be notified. So I will see you guys in my next video, which is going to be of the Serpent Shadow. Bora he!